you talk about civilization and you say that there's no such thing as Western civilization. There is no European civilization. And you break it down. I can repeat what you say, but I'd rather you talk about it again now. So talk about the idea of civilization. What is it to be civilized so that we understand who is and who isn't?
Right. When we look through the world, I tell people go anywhere in Europe and find me a civilization. I'll sit here and I'll wait for you to come back. Go anywhere. And the closest you will get, and that's not even close, is the Greek and the Romans. And those are murder cults. They're murdering people and taking their wealth from the very inception of their history. They build nothing except what they steal from others to fortify themselves after the theft. Their people, even their gods, the children are raping their mother. The gods, in the pantheon of gods, the son rapes the mother and murders the father. How is that civilized when your God is a rapist and a murderer of his own mother? Hello? And they have us somehow buying this thing. It's total insanity. You leave the borders of where you live with all of the and you leave the symbols of it, your armaments, your swords, and your army, and you come to people who are just farmers and fishermen and builders of true civilization through ideas, concepts, and principles based on truth, justice, harmony, balance, and reciprocity. And you come and slaughter them and then try to take their identity after they're dead in order to identify yourself with what they had built. And that's how their documents we call holy books come about, trying to codify fragments from the periphery of the very civilization they just destroyed in order to empower themselves now. So the next barbarian would not slaughter them without a fight, to take what they have taken from the innocents. There is no civilization anywhere in Europe. There isn't even a literature in Europe that's ancient. Show me one. This old Homer and the Odyssey and the Iliad, a book which I read at age 15. In his Odyssey and Iliad, he said all of the gods of Greece must travel to Ethiopia to renew themselves in every season. Or you want to say Herodotus, the father of their history. He writes a whole book too that tells you about the superiority of Ethiopia. And that even the oracles that started the modern religion for their time in Greece were two black women. He calls them blackbirds. Two African priestesses that taught them the oracle, that what became the oracles of Greece. In his literature, Plato, they like to say, oh, Plato didn't write anything because they don't want you to see what he wrote, right? They said Aristotle wrote about Plato in the Republic. But no, Plato wrote before Aristotle, and it's called the Phaedrus or the Phaedra. And in the Phaedrus, Plato says that the Ethiopian gave the world all of its sciences. This is Plato, the big man. Then he lists the sciences, right? And he says medicine. He says astronomy. He says astrology. He goes and names all the science of that day. And then he said, but the greatest science of all that the Ethiopian gave to the world is the science of writing itself. This is Plato. This is their main man. Every single one of their great ones acknowledged Africa as the genesis of the only civilization they knew. They know all of this in Oxford. Yeah. They know this in Harvard and Princeton. So their greatest institutions are bastions of lies.
Wow.
The greatest institutions they built to try and mimic the temples in Kemet are bastions of lies.
Yeah.
For the sake of robbing the Africans of the wealth in the ground, they tried to destroy the wealth in our very souls by taking away our identity and our sense of our own history, because it is your history that allows you to establish your identity
Mm.
and fact, right? So if I take away access to your history, I've taken away the tools you use to build your identity. And if I take away the tools for you to build your identity, I've taken away your ways of developing your spirituality, your understanding of nature, cosmology, and ecology. And thus I can control your behavior to my end. And then I give you the documents that will seal that control, and they're called my holy books. The only thing holy about it is that I'm wholly in control of your mind now, and you no longer are.
Mm,
Mm.
mm.